Hey guys, and welcome to Teal House Farm. It is a super hot afternoon going into the evening, and I'm getting ready to do a big prep for the week food-wise. I want to show you some of the things that I do either on Sunday or Monday to kind of prep some food for the week to make the week a little bit easier and take some of the cooking load off. I am not a big freezer meals or meal make ahead person unless it's something that's in the canning pantry. There's a couple reasons for that. First of all, if you meal prep for 9 people in your fridge, you have no room in your fridge for anything else like gallons of milk. So it just isn't practical for us. And our freezer is pretty darn full with meat that we've raised and things like that. So meal prepping for a freezer does not work well for us. Plus, when you meal prep for a freezer, you have to remember to take your thing out of the freezer to either defrost in the fridge or cook long enough to be cooked through, which can be hours, like if it's a lasagna. And so that doesn't always work well for me personally. I know some people absolutely love it and nothing against it. But anyway, all that to say, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is some of the little things. So typically every weekend I make a gallon of yogurt. My kids love plain yogurt. We put honey in it. We put granola or some grape nut cereal. That's their like new favorite, granola. I don't really know why. It's pretty good. On top, or we'll put some blueberries in it, but it's just plain yogurt, no sugar added. And we... Okay, thank you. You finished? Okay. Anyway, having a gallon of good quality sugar-free yogurt, no sugar added, I should say. Yogurt, milk has natural sugars. Anyway, in the fridge is really helpful for me when we need quick breakfast because cereal does not fill bellies and it's expensive. So doing plain yogurt with fruit, or we're also going to make some protein, like granola bar protein balls, no-cook protein balls. We're going to make a bunch of those to keep on the counter for a few days for the kids to snack on or to have for a quick breakfast. So with all the extra protein in them, they fill bellies. And then we are also going to make some loaf of sourdough bread. You can make multiple loaves at one time if you want to. I usually just do a couple times a week. I will make a loaf, and I'll show you my really easy sourdough recipe where I basically just mix it up the night before and you cook the loaf in the morning, and it's really easy. You don't need a kitchen scale. It comes out good pretty much every time, so you don't have to get all fussy and fiddly with it. It saves me a lot of money because bread is expensive, or nice bread, good bread is expensive, and everybody loves it. And so, so yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'll just show you everything that I do. The first thing I'm going to do is start the sourdough because I like to have it sit for a long time overnight so it's ready to bake first thing in the morning so that we can have it for lunch. So it's 4 o'clock now. I fed my starter at about 1, so it's been sitting for 3 hours doing its bubbly thing. And so it's about ready to go ahead and make our loaf. This starter is really easy. We're going to do a scant cup of sourdough starter. What that means is somewhere between 3/4 and 1 cup of active starter.
We're going to add that active starter to our bowl. And then we're going to add 1 cup plus about 1 tablespoon of room temperature water. So not warm or cold, just as close to room temperature as you can get it. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You could also use avocado oil. And then about a teaspoon of salt and 2 cups of bread flour. And then give it a mix with our fingers. We're not trying to create a ball right now. We're just trying to mix all the ingredients together so they can kind of sit and meld and ferment a little bit before we make our dough ball. It is a really sticky dough, so it's going to look like that. Then we're going to wet a clean kitchen towel and we are going to cover our little dough and let it sit for an hour. Just sit them on the counter, leave them alone for 1 hour. During that time, we ate our dinner, so sorry about all those pots and pans. And then we're going to take our little dough mess and we're going to shape it into a ball now. Again, this is really sticky. That's normal for this recipe. So just kind of fold it over on itself a couple times, stretch and fold. Nice little ball. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're going to stick your wet kitchen towel back on top and you're going to leave it on the counter overnight. Now you can stretch and fold once an hour if you want to. I don't bother. The recipe comes out fine without doing anything else.
Okay, we're ready to make our yogurt. I do a very simple yogurt. We're going to heat the milk tonight and it's going to sit in the oven overnight with the oven off, and then it's done in the morning. So all you need is a gallon of milk. I am using just plain old 1% from the grocery store. I've done basically every kind of milk, cow's milk, say that, cow's milk. From whole milk all the way down to even using powder, reconstituted powdered milk, it all works. But I will tell you that 1%, 2%, and whole milk will give you a much thicker final yogurt, where the skim milk or the powdered milk that's reconstituted will give you more of a slimy yogurt. So if you want a thick, like Greek style yogurt, you need to use at least 1%. So we're gonna fill our pot up with the yogurt. You will also need about 1/3 of a cup of yogurt starter. I'm using what's left of the yogurt I made last week. We'll use that. You could also just use 1/3 of a cup of a good quality Greek yogurt. You do not need to buy expensive yogurt starting powders off of the internet unless you are wanting to make a very specific special kind of yogurt. Question I get all the time, is they'll say, you know, I'm lactose free. Can I use lactose free milk? Can I use goat's milk? One of those things. Yes, but there are some extra things that you have to do. This recipe will probably not work with alternative milks because this recipe counts on the lactose in the milk providing the sugar to feed the bacteria that is in our yogurt starter. So if you're wanting to make a coconut yogurt or something like that, you're going to need to look at a different recipe video from somebody else because I don't have any experience with that. Anyway, we're going to fill up our pot with our milk. We're going to bring our milk slowly up to 180 degrees. Don't do it too fast, otherwise you will scald your milk and burn it to the bottom of your pot. So we'll do that. Are you tired? We'll do that while stirring it intermittently, and once we hit it 180 degrees, we immediately will take it off the burner and let it cool down to 115. The cool down takes about 40 minutes, so make sure you keep that in mind for whenever you start this project. There is a wait period. If you do not have a thermometer to measure your milk temperature, it's basically right before it gets to boiling is when you're going to take it. It's going to be like 2 seconds from boiling. That's when you remove it from the stove. With making yogurt, just plain old yogurt, no fancy smancy yogurts, you don't have to be really specific about the temperature, but about the heat up temperature. You do need to be really close on that cool down temperature. It needs to be between 110, no more than 120 when you add your yogurt starter, otherwise you will kill the bacteria. So I really do recommend getting a thermometer to do this. But you can kind of eyeball it if you really just want to try it and don't have a thermometer. Yep. This is the thermometer I use. It's a candy thermometer. I like it because it latches to the side of the pot so I don't have to hold it in there. I'll link it below. It was not very expensive. I think it was maybe $10 when I bought it. But it's nice because if you do ever make candies, which we do sometimes, it has the temperatures all labeled with the consistency of the candy at that point. So, all right, let's get this cooking. While that's cooling down, we'll make our protein bites, which is really easy. You need 5 things. You need oatmeal, so you can use rolled oats. I actually use quick oats and they work just fine. You need peanut butter. I'm using just off-brand chunky cheap peanut butter. I like the chunky peanut butter better, but you can use natural sugar-free peanut butter, whatever. You need some sort of protein powder. I like this Naked Peanut Butter protein powder. It's got no added sugars and no artificial sweeteners. It's literally just dehydrated roasted peanuts, but you can use a vanilla or a chocolate protein powder. I personally don't like how stevia tastes. And so I don't like a lot of shelf protein powders because I feel like they have that weird stevia aftertaste. Okay, and then you're going to need honey, about a 1/2 cup of honey, and you're going to need a mix-in. So typically I do chocolate chips, and that was the plan today. But I realized that we used the chocolate chips earlier when we were doing school. We used them for math and counting, and then I let the kids eat them when they were done, so I don't have any chocolate chips. So we're going to get a little inventive tonight and try a new recipe. So the base is the same, whatever you're mixing tonight. And tonight, instead of mixing in chocolate chips, we're going to mix in a little bit of chopped up pecans and some sweetened coconut for that little sweet flavor. My kids all really like coconut, so I'm thinking these might go over pretty well. But we'll try it. Like I said, normally I do chocolate chips, and they love those. So let's make it real quick. It's a very easy recipe. You need 1½ cups of your oatmeal. Okay, you're going to need about a 1/2 cup of honey.
Does she have clothes on?
No, she doesn't. You need about a 1/2 cup of your protein powder. I don't really measure any of this. They just need to be sticky enough that they hold together, but not so sticky that you can't pick them up. Somewhere between a cup and a 1.5 cups of peanut butter. little stir just to get it started together. Hey, baby.
Did she
And
do
then-
some cooking?
No, she will try to eat all this. We're gonna add our mix-in. So you want about somewhere between a half cup to a cup of mix-in. So add a little bit of coconut and a sprinkle of the pecans. And then we're gonna mix it the rest of the way. Hey, are you stealing my food? I just use a bucket like this. This is a little gallon-sized ice cream bucket. We just make little, I call them donut hole size because I grew up on the East Coast. Donut hole size balls. They don't need to be refrigerated. They're shelf stable for a little bit, a couple days. I'll just leave them out on the counter, and the kids can just pick at them when they want them. The younger ones will definitely be sad that they aren't chocolate chip, but they are still available for snack and quick breakfast, especially on mornings when Sam works. Get that punch of protein. You can take it real easy on the go. There. That's what you get. My beautiful assistant is, I don't know, are you going to assist me or are you just here to watch? Okay. We've got the jars. I put the oven on 200 and then I turned it off and just put the jars in the warm oven. If the jars are warm, it helps the yogurt incubate better, so it's warm. So we're gonna take them out and we're gonna fill them. I lied, I forgot the most important step. Before we fill them, we need to add our yogurt starter. And so we're gonna go ahead and just scoop a couple scoops of the warm milk out of the pot into the jar that has our yogurt in it. This helps keep it from getting all chunky so we get it well incorporated. Give it a shaky shake so it's all mixed up. And then pour that back into the pot. And then mix it all together. And now we can fill our jars. Now, back up for just a second here. Warm jars. Wide mouth funnel, assistant will scoop. Here, all you have to do is you just use this. One of these should fill a jar, just like that. Fill a jar to the bottom rim. We're not canning, so you don't have to worry about headspace, but obviously you don't want to fill a jar so much that it's overflowing.
Looks like soap.
There you go. And then you just go to the next one. This is a great way to reuse canning lids. These are ones that we've already popped off of jars and we've obviously cleaned, and just put them on tight enough that they, won't pop off. Here.
They're just hot.
They're a little bit hot, yeah.
Why are you touching them?
They're not that hot. You can still touch them. They're just warm. Okay, and the piece de resistance is the bath towel. Wrap the jars in a bath towel because it helps to incubate them better. And then we're putting in the oven overnight, and the oven is off again. And they're just going to sit there all night. And in the morning, you will have nice, thick yogurt.
Every time when I try to use my microphone on YouTube, when I try to say SpongeBob, it just says SpongeBob.
I guess you need to enunciate better, JJ.
I said SpongeBob.
You gotta say
SpongeBob.
You want them in the oven for at least 8 hours. I aim for 10. So, and make sure you remember that they are in the oven before you start cooking breakfast tomorrow. Yeah.
What?
All right. Our bread is rising on the counter. It'll just be baked in the morning. The yogurt is sitting in the oven. It'll just go in the fridge in the morning, and the protein bites are done. So we're done. That's just a lot of food that's going to be handy on deck, and it's worth putting the time in one night a week, especially if you want to do multiple loaves of bread. I didn't this time, but that's another way to really invest your time well. So if you want to see the completed product for the yogurt and for the bread, I have separate videos. I'm not going to do them again on this video, but I can link those below that also show more in detail the step-by-step on the bread and the yogurt if you want to see that and try it for yourself. The yogurt especially saves me tons of money. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.